Hi everyone, welcome to the 5th session of the Telegraph Beauty School in association with Latest in Beauty. My name is Sonia Haria and I'm the Beauty Director of the Telegraph. Over the next 45 minutes, we'll be talking to the makeup artist Hannah Martin as she takes us through her step-by-step routine to creating a glowy base for your makeup. So joining me this lunchtime is the incredible makeup artist Hannah Martin. I'm a total fangirl. Myself and Hannah has the perfect step-by-step guide to creating glowy skin. So I think Hannah will be joining me very shortly. Hi! Hi Hannah, welcome to Telegraph Beauty School.
Thank you so much for having me. Gosh, this is fun.
I know, this is great. Thank you all so much. Lots of people are joining. What we are talking about today is obviously, I mean, you are the queen of glowy skin, in my opinion.
Thanks.
Your skin is always just like, it's that kind of radiant, beautiful skin that essentially we all kind of want. And, you know, as a makeup artist, is it something you kind of get requested quite a lot?
Oh, yeah, undoubtedly. And I suppose, you know, I'm booked because it's kind of my aesthetic. But I think both beauty directors and private clients and TV producers alike, everyone wants to know how to look freshest, most radiant, most glowing. And the great news for everyone is that it's easy and it's completely universal. No matter your skin type, no matter your skin tone, your skin texture, you can create, you know, a youthful glow with brilliant products.
Amazing. And obviously a lot of it's down to the makeup that you apply before, like the makeup you apply after your skincare. But we were discussing this earlier. Skincare does play quite a big part in it, doesn't it?
Oh, it's huge. Yeah. I think it's often something that can be missed with some consumers when they're buying their dewy makeup. And they maybe purchase products that say on the front, you know, that it's hydrating, maybe it's a tinted moisturizer. And because of that, they omit some of the really essential skincare steps beforehand. And then they're surprised when they don't get the glow. So plumping up that surface layer of skin with skincare before makeup is just as important as the formula that you then apply on top.
Amazing. Okay, so Hannah's going to be talking us through step by step on her own face, very excitingly. So what would you do? Have you already prepped your skin with skincare?
So I did do a little Chantecaille eye mask after my shower this morning as I folded my laundry, and I did do an essence already because I always apply essence straight out of the shower. So my routine is I cleanse as I do my teeth before I get in the shower, have my shower, and then I don't know about you, but my skin's quite sensitive to water, so it feels quite dry straight after showering. So I go straight into an essence, and I've tried many, but I'm loving at the moment the new Equilibrium essence from Hourglass Cosmetics. Key to point out, this is a vegan, cruelty-free brand for anyone wondering, and essentially the essence is a water that is enriched with hyaluronic acid to moisturize and glycerin. Now, the combination of hyaluronic acid and glycerin, first of all, lock in loads and loads of moisture to the skin. Good afternoon, Elizabeth. But it's that first step to hydrating your skin. So no matter what product you put on top, it's just going to sink in so much more effectively. A bit like, imagine your sponge scourer, if you will. If you put fairy liquid onto a dry sponge scourer, it doesn't froth, it doesn't bubble. But if you put it into an already wet sponge, it absorbs and it froths up nice and quickly. I've never used that analogy when talking about this.
Great analogy, I love that.
But it just came to me.
So is it essentially prepping your skin for maximum hydration and moisture?
Yeah, and it just means that once your skin's dampened with this kind of lightweight water moisturizer, it's ready to then hold whatever you put on top. Now, I would say, and I just want to say across the board, that this skincare routine is appropriate for all skin, but probably particularly more mature skin, because we can lose some of that moisture over time. So just to clarify that. Once I've done essence, that's the time to get into your eye cream. What do you think, Sonia? I've learned that it's best applied before you do anything else.
Yes.
So it's got a real chance for any actives to do their thing. Hi, Lois.
And also I find it sinks in. It has enough time then to sink in before you apply any makeup, because you don't want any sliding going around under the eyes. So do you use an eye cream every morning?
Without fail. And that's two reasons really. First of all, my under eye is my key area of concern, so I'm really conscious of the kind of darker shadow in the inner corner, hi Liz, but also the fine lines around my eyes. So I always use an eye cream in the morning for that reason, but also because it preps my skin ready to take the under eye concealer that I use as well to try and, you know, neutralize some of that shadow.
Amazing. And so then do you follow with a serum or a face cream directly afterwards?
Yeah. So I'm going to go on with a serum. Before I do that, I'm such a creature of habit. I'm going to put on my lip balm. So this is the Bobbi Brown Cosmetics lip balm. And I always do my lips at the start of my skincare routine, so that if I am going to put on a lipstick, my lips are kind of prepped and moisturized ahead of time. So for serum, has anyone tried the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Serum?
Oh yeah, I've tried that.
You can see mine is well loved. Now, I've chosen to show you this one because there are loads of serums out there that are targeted mainly at skin nourishment. And this one is, yes, there are of course some skin nourishing ingredients, but it's really driven to hydration. So it's more hydrating than many on the market. And of course it's got some buzzword hyaluronic acid, niacinamide to really boost hydration. So I'm going to do probably a couple of pumps of that and then just blend over the face and chin. I'm sorry some of you are struggling with the picture. Is that universal? I hope not. And then smooth onto the neck.
I think we're just working on the image.
Okay.
The picture quality. Yeah, I think there we go.
What a shame. I'm clear as a button my end.
Oh yes, for me too. With you as well. I hope yeah, oh that's better. Oh great. Perhaps it's because I was lurking in the background.
Sorry. Okay, better. Phew. But I hope you can see that in two steps really of essence and serum, there's significantly more glow than there was there a moment ago.
Amazing. And so with the serum, are you essentially patting it in or really kind of are you massaging it into the skin? Yeah,
I always start with a pat just to kind of disperse it, I suppose, and then a soft massage. And if you've ever watched any of Nicola Joss's Instagrams, I'm now, you know, very attuned to kind of sweeping up. And that's, of course, for lymphatic drainage, right? So any kind of water retention in the face or in the skin, you kind of put your moisturizer and press up so that it drains down the glands at the back of your neck.
Amazing.
And any leftover, pop it on your neck, because our neck needs all the help it can get as well.
Yeah, see, I always forget about that whole area. I kind of focus here, and then actually my neck is probably aging about 5 years quicker than the rest of my face.
All right. So, and I'll come on to that in just a sec, because I'm going to do, before I get into my tinted moisturizer, I will do a primer, but I'll also do an SPF. And it's just really important, just like I did with the serum, that you just take your SPF down your neck as well. Amazing. What's your favourite primer, Sonia?
So, well, you know, I also love a glow. My favourite is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter.
Yes, yes.
I love it.
Good. So good.
Yeah.
I'm using
I do also like the Shiseido blurring primer. I feel like that's a really good one if you want quite a even base.
Yeah.
What one are you using right now?
I'm using Bobbi Brown's Vitamin Enriched face base. This has been in my kit for 15 plus years. And I love it because it honestly works on all skin types. So it's not oily. It does have some shea butter. It does have some vitamin C and some vitamin E. But it's just a really good all-rounder that whether your skin is really dry, a bit dry, normal, oily, it just creates a really soft cushion for your makeup to sit on top of. So I'm Vitamin Enriched face base through and through. I absolutely love the stuff.
Do you think we have to use primer? I mean, primer is one of those things that I think a lot of people think, oh, is it just an added step in my skincare routine that I can kind of give, or, you know, I don't have to include? Is the lasting power of your makeup going to be so much better if you prime the skin first?
Yes. So bottom line, absolutely yes. But as a makeup artist, I consider everything that I've done so far as the priming phase. Right.
Yeah.
So again, I think there is some confusion when consumers buy a makeup primer and think, well, I've got this great makeup primer, so it's going to lock my makeup in place and that's going to be the job done. When again, what you apply before the primer will affect how your foundation wears. The formula of the foundation you apply is going to affect how it wears, as will how you then set the foundation. So they do really help. My advice is always just know what you're looking for, know your skin, because there are some mattifying primers which are excellent at what they do, but applied onto a poorly hydrated skin with a long wearing foundation on top, and it can have almost the opposite effect, and it can add texture to your skin, which you don't want.
So you're almost, you know, your primer and your powder are almost like the sandwich of your foundation and concealer, essentially.
Absolutely right.
You kind of get that right, and you're kind of locking everything in together.
Exactly. So I always say it's like a three-pronged approach.
Yeah.
It's not just, there's not one wonder primer or one wonder foundation that's going to fix or create kind of, you know, a perfect looking base. It's the three all together. Natalie, I'm really pleased that your image and sound are fine. So pleased. But Sonia, I've got to talk about the Dermalogica Dynamic Skin Recovery.
Oh, what's this?
Well, it's fairly new to me and I don't know where I've been all my life. So of course it's so important to use SPF daily. That is the #1 anti-aging winner right there. Yeah. But let me put some on to show you. Not only does it help promote the glow, it doesn't look weird with makeup on top. You know, there's no ashiness to the skin. It doesn't oxidize my base. I'm just really, really impressed.
So that's an SPF primer, essentially.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, you can wear this when you're makeup free as well. But SPF, I know there can be some confusion as to when you apply your SPF, and it's always the last thing before you put your makeup on. Right. So I think some people think, well, I need to protect my skin, let me put it on first. But actually, the other products you then apply can move it and interfere with its efficacy.
Alexandra just asked, is that good for oily skin?
Yeah, I mean, I say yes glibly because actually I've got kind of normal to dry skin. It is definitely moisturizing. However, it's not, if you see my skin, I don't have a wet look shine to the skin. So I believe if you do have a slightly oilier skin, just setting through the T-zone with powder will really help with that.
Amazing. Okay, great. So you've got the Dermalogica on. What would you go on to next?
Well, then I'd go to Tinted Moisturizer. Okay. So all of these products are helping just plump and saturate that surface layer of skin with moisture. So now when I put on, I'm actually going to use Beauty Pie Tinted Moisturizer. Have you tried it?
I haven't tried that one, no.
So good. It's called the Sheer Tinted Oil-Free SPF 20, and it's absolutely beautiful. The proof's in the pudding, so let me show you.
I must say, anything I've tried from Beauty Pie is exceptional. The products are so good, aren't they?
So good. Now, I'm a huge fan of application with my fingers. With 2 small children, speed is definitely of the essence, but you can use a brush. I'll do one side with my fingers so you can see. And you can see I'm being fairly gentle, and it's a bit more of a kind of a tap and blend motion, but the finish, there's just enough pigment to help even out my skin tone, but there's so much more.
Yeah.
Of a glow.
So would you go for a when would you go for a tinted moisturizer over a traditional foundation?
I think I'd reach for a tinted moisturizer if I specifically wanted more of a radiant look to the skin, because of their very nature, they carry more emollients and moisture than maybe some water-based foundations. And I think as well, there's something lovely, especially as we segue into spring, when you start looking for products that are slightly more sheer, because it helps you look, but also feel that little bit fresher.
Liz is just asking, which shade are you using?
Yeah, this is light.
Light.
The light.
And is that good for kind of mature complexions as well?
Yeah, perfect. And actually, whenever I'm working with mature skin, and I spent a lot of time working with mature skin during lockdown, filming 10 Years Younger, I will often go for tinted moisturizer as a base and then spot correct with concealer if I need to. Yeah.
I mean, that's giving you such a glowy finish already. I mean, it looks amazing.
Lovely, isn't it? Now, I noticed a comment about the number of products. So I absolutely could use less. I could skip any one. I could skip the essence. I could skip the vitamin enriched face base. But when I'm trying to proactively create a glow, these are the steps that I would highly recommend for a brilliant glow and for a glow that's going to last all day.
Philip, 10 Years Younger starts tonight with Hannah on.
Very, very excited.
Very excited. Amazing. So you've I think as long as, I mean, it's nice to hear that essentially this, you know, as long as you get some good basic, really good skincare tips in there to begin with, you know, it does kind of set you up for a really good makeup look, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally. And everyone's skin's different. It might be that someone with an oilier skin doesn't need quite so many layers. But I'm a huge fan of K-beauty, and they really speak to the efficacy and brilliance of layering light layers of different products to achieve the best looking finish. I think we're possibly guilty in the UK of being like, right, I want one wonder cream and one wonder base, and I'm out the door.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you can see the glow through your skin already with just a tinted moisturizer. Yeah. It's kind of amazing.
It's lovely, isn't it? And I can't tell you how nice it feels. You know, I can move my face freely, and I don't feel restricted by product at all. And I must do a bit of concealer, Sonia. My under eyes bother me without. So I'm going to use a bit of this is the Armani Luminous Silk Concealer. And I've chosen this one because it's so light. I have loads and loads of full coverage concealers because it's my area of concern. But what I've noticed in the past is when I've been photographed with a dewy base and a full coverage concealer, the difference in texture on the skin can be quite jarring. So kind of powdery and dry to glowy. And I find the Armani is a really beautifully glowy under eye concealer. And most of my clients, when we're working together, they want coverage, but they don't want the fine lines around the eyes to be accentuated. They don't like to see makeup sitting in the creases. And Armani, this one is a brilliant one for giving some coverage, but still skin looking healthy.
And will that won't settle into kind of lines around the eyes? Because actually, can we talk through your method of tapping? Because I think that's so interesting.
Yeah. So a way of preventing concealer from settling in the lines is, first of all, the eye cream. So I did a bit of Benefiance eye cream right at the beginning. So that's an absolute must. You've got to prep and hydrate the skin beforehand. Then I always advocate using the flat pad of your finger. So I probably use about that much of my finger pressed flat onto the skin, trying to work out the angle. And I just flatly press the makeup. And if anyone's had their makeup done by me, you know I'll do this on other people when I'm allowed to touch faces. And it just helps. The warmth of your finger helps melt the product into the skin. And as you press in and dab, you're also lifting off any excess product that you don't need. So it just really helps work the product into the skin. If you pull and drag too much, the problem I find with that is often you just take off the concealer inadvertently. But also if you use kind of the tip, certainly your index finger, you can just be a little bit rough. So I always recommend ring finger because it's the lightest touch, and then this fairly rapid pressing technique. It just works.
And would you not use, you wouldn't use a brush under the eyes? A sort of concealer.
Yeah, you can do. In which case I really like kind of the long, flat, synthetic haired concealer brushes if you're less au fait with using fingers. But when I can with clients, I might use a brush to start with, but I'll always perfect with the pad of my finger. They are just the best tools when it comes to makeup.
I love that. Nice and easy as well, because it's essentially just, I mean, you don't have to buy any extra products for that. What shade Armani?
4.5 is this one. 4.5. But there are loads. I think 40-ish, at least 40 shades in the foundation. So it's a really broad,
amazing
shade.
Would you carry on that concealer onto your eyelids as well?
Sometimes, yeah, you absolutely can. What I would say is if you're going to do kind of an eyeshadow look, just be wary that some concealers, if they are more hydrating, could cause your eyeshadow to crease. So if you're wanting to proceed with powder shadow afterwards, maybe omit concealer and use something like a long wear cream shadow stick that will do the same job of neutralizing the lid color.
I see. So the concealer can almost be a bit too
emollient.
Or
underneath. Yeah.
Amazing. So do you then set that, or will you then go on to colour or cheeks?
Yeah, I will set it, but I do want to take a moment to wax lyrical about bronzing gels.
Oh yes,
I love a bronzing gel, especially when creating a glowy, dewy look, because you're not adding unwanted, unnecessary mattifying powder to the skin. This one by Clinique is just a one shade wonder. If you're fairer, use less. If you're warmer, use more. And it just looks lovely. So I've got about a pea size on the back of my hand. I normally use my fingers, but just so it looks a bit cleaner, I'll use a brush. This is just a Shiseido foundation brush. But I just want to show you how, when you dab it onto the cheek and blend, you get all the warmth of a bronzing powder, but absolutely none of the powdery finish. And you can use as much or as little as you want. I'm a huge fan of quite a lot of warmth in the skin because I think it just, I'm convinced it makes me look healthier, Sonia. So I use quite a bit. But do you see how I'm adding colour and shape, but not lacking any of the glow that we've worked
and it still looks quite sheer, doesn't it? The texture looks very sheer.
Yeah, it's really sheer. And as a makeup artist, you know, making sure I'm using harmonious textures is really important, because there's nothing, you know, from work on shoots and stuff, there's nothing more annoying than looking at a monitor and seeing areas of different texture on the skin. It just can be quite confusing. So hence my love of a gel-like bronzer when you're using lots of kind of lightweight, dewy products.
And you can use so you often use your fingers to apply that as well.
All the time. If I do fingers for my forehead, so you'll see, I used this recently in a video with my fingers, and I thought as I watched it back, oh, it looks a bit messy. So maybe I'll use a brush with the Telegraph. But then what I do normally is just pat like that with my fingers and then gently blend into the skin. So another quick and easy step.
And how do you know where to apply bronzer?
Yeah, so my rule of thumb is usually just look for where the sun naturally hits the face. So for most of us, that's the top of the forehead, because that's the bit that catches the sun first. Yeah. Usually that'll be just a bit on the nose and then the higher points of the cheek. So yeah, that's kind of the rule of thumb.
You look like you've been in Greece for a week.
Oh, only.
But it's given a real kind of natural sun-kissed look to the skin, which is incredible.
Yeah, so good. And don't tell anyone. It's great on husbands and guys. Like because it's undetectable. You can't see it.
Yeah. And will that move throughout the day, or is it kind of one of those products that's once it's on, it's on?
Yeah, it almost stains. So if you are using your fingers to apply, just go and wash your hands once you've done it. Yeah, so again, it's great. It's like a long wearing stain of bronzer. So yeah,
amazing. Do you kind of feel like bronzer is quite an essential product to use, no matter what your skin tone is, or the kind of overall look you want? Is bronzer quite crucial, do you think?
Yes, and I use bronzer. I use it on myself a lot, but I use it when I'm working a lot, just because so none of us have kind of a completely flat tone to the face. And sometimes when we apply makeup, you can achieve that kind of one-dimensional tone look. So to create a makeup look that looks most natural, you want to put back in some of the shade and colour that you've evened out with your base makeup. Hence why, yeah, I love the use of bronzer. I think it brings skin to life no matter your skin tone. It contours, but as you can see, I've definitely not done kind of the stripy contour look of recent years, but it does help add that little bit of shape. Yeah.
Amazing.
I love it.
Where do we go on to next?
Can I do some blusher?
Yes.
Because again, blusher just makes my heart sing. I think everyone looks healthiest with a bit of blush. I know that you said at the beginning of the year, Sonia, it was one of your goals for this year was to wear more blush.
Oh God, yeah, it was. Oh, love a bit of blush. I mean, it really does instantly bring life to the skin, doesn't it?
Totally. I'm going to use, this is called the Dewy Blush. Again, I'm so on brand with our theme for today, Sonia. But just because there's been, thank the Lord, there are so many gel and cream bronzers available on the market at the moment. I've got some lovely ones with Beauty Pie. NARS just came out with some beautiful matte options. I also love the Clé de Peau cream blushes, the Bobbi Brown, Iconic do some gels. There are just loads, but this one probably gives the dewiest finish of them all. I'm just going to apply some with my finger. This is the Papaya shade of the Ciate Dewy Blush. So just watch this. You go onto the apple of the cheek, start blending, and you get, just like the bronzing gel, you get a sheer tint of this gorgeous peachy pink and that beautiful soft glow. So if you're looking for a dewy finish to your makeup, if you've done lots of beautiful dewy tinted moisturizers and skincare, and then go onto the cheek with a powder blush, it can dull some of that glow that you've worked so hard to create.
And so, how do you know where to apply the blusher then?
Okay, I'm a huge fan of blusher on the apple of the cheek, blended back to meet your bronzer. I know there are some trends I'm seeing a lot at the moment about putting it, much higher and further back for a snatched or otherwise lifted look. However, when I use blush, I'm usually trying to make people look or emulate the look of you at your healthiest if you've just been for a brisk walk and the blood has rushed to the surface of the skin. So I choose the apples. So I always tell my clients to smile. So you smile, find kind of where you feel the top of the apple of your cheek is, and start your colour there, and then blend out. And I love to pull it back to meet the bronzer, and then go back into the centre of the face and just work at blending the front. Now, I know that some people worry about adding blusher, especially if they've got a bit of high colour in the skin. But I'd say if you've neutralised the high colour present in your skin naturally, it can be really brightening to add a bit of blush to the apple of the cheek. So don't be afraid.
And are you're still using the your ring finger then to apply? So is that, again, with a liquid texture, quite a good way to apply the blush?
Yeah.
My gosh, Hannah, you look so glowy.
Well, there we go. Gorgeous, glowy makeup. That I don't know about you, Sonia, but you know, this last year, if I've just got 5 minutes to apply some glowy makeup, I just feel so much better.
Oh gosh, yes. I don't feel like I'm ready for my day until I've applied a good blusher and a good decent highlighter or bronzer. With liquid blushes, are they essentially will you still get that lasting power that you get with powder blushes? You do?
Yes, because most of the tints, again, much like the bronzing gel, they're like a sheer stain. So if your skin is particularly dehydrated, then your skin might drink the moisture from the product quickly, but you'll be left with the colour.
Not gluey skin, it's dewy skin.
Oh yeah, sorry, did I say gluey? No. Now, interestingly, saying gluey skin, there are lots of balm-based products on the market that will give that kind of wet look. But if it feels a bit gluey and tacky and sticky, then I'm less likely to use that, because I know, first of all, I don't like the feeling of it on my skin, but I know that it could be irritating for my clients as well.
Yeah, amazing. And then with finding out your kind of the best blusher shade for you, how would you identify that for your skin tone?
Yeah, way back when I was training as a makeup artist, I was always told to very gently tap the apple of your cheek, just with your first two fingers, very, very gently, and see the shade that comes to the surface of the skin with a very light tap. So that's kind of the oldest trick in the book.
Wow.
You know, the way that, you know, back in the day we just pinch our cheeks, right? So that's a great way of finding it. What I would always say is I often use my wrist as a litmus test, and only to see how the colour translates on my skin. I wish I had a blush palette to hand so I could show you. Usually because I find often people are drawn to maybe the more neutral blush shades, but when you press the pigment into the wrist and then take a good look from a distance, you'll see the true colour coming through. And so often those neutral tones actually will have kind of a reddish, brownish hue coming through. Now, if you've worked hard to neutralise unwanted redness in the skin and then add what you think is a neutral blush because you don't want it to be too bright, actually you could be adding back that slightly red shade that you wanted to neutralise. So I advocate really blue-based pink blushes a lot. And, you know, a common retort is, I don't want to look like Aunt Sally. And I just say, trust me, because what you'll achieve, or what this will achieve, is the lightest hint of flush that just looks pretty. And the one I go to time and time again is Bobbi Brown Cosmetics Pale Pink No. 9, and it works across all skin tones, and it just gives that brightening effect. Lovely.
And that's quite a blue-based blusher, isn't it?
Yeah. So it could look too kind of neon almost to those who are maybe looking and not knowing the effect of a blue-based pink. But yeah, it's just the softest, lightest flush. So pretty.
Amazing. And so we're coming towards the end of the session. Let's talk highlighters.
Yes. So Sonia, you understand my adoration for highlighter, especially the ones I have in my hand. And highlighters can be a brilliant way of adding a little extra glow, using shimmer and light reflection. So all the glow that we've created so far is through moisturizer and moisturizing product. And this is probably my favorite kind of glow, because I think so often people reach for shimmery highlighters to kind of create that glow, but what you end up with is a slightly metallic looking sheen to the skin. So there are millions of highlighters on the market, but I'm absolutely loving the Westmin Atelier cream highlighters. Again, this is a vegan and cruelty free brand. This shade is Peau de Rose, so a soft pinky highlighter. And I also have and adore her Peau de Pêche, which, if you prefer slightly more of a peachy finish to your highlight. So I'm going to apply it shock horror with my fingers again. This finger application is just so good. So I'm going to get a bit on the pad of my finger, very similar to where I place or where I use my concealer. And then simply I'm going to tap over the highest point of my cheek.
Wow.
And then use a clean finger just to blend out the edge. And this is true whether you're using a creamy highlighter or a powder highlighter. Just like any other product, you want to make sure you smooth out any edges of your makeup so you don't see where the highlight product starts or finishes. I like a little bit just down the center of my nose. It's almost like the anti-nose contour when you just add a bit of brightness and light just to the very center. And then I'll do the same on the other side of my cheek. So again, I just dab into the product, tap just over the very top of my cheek, and then use my ring finger just to blend out the edge. And it's really as simple as that, but the cream highlight just blends into all the other cream-based products that we've used for, and it's that phrase, isn't it, that lit from within glow.
And it looks just effortless, doesn't it? It doesn't look like you're wearing loads of makeup. It kind of just looks like really naturally enhanced skin, which is the dream, really, isn't it? So Wendy's just asking, if you use a pink blusher, should you then use a pink highlighter?
I do think it's lovely if you can use products that are kind of in colour harmony with one another. What I will say is that even though this highlighter is called Peau de Rose and it does have a pink hue, actually the sheen you get is fairly neutral. So I think no matter which highlight product you go for, usually the main effect after application is the highlight, less so colour. Does that make sense? So even if you choose a bronzy one or a peachy one, so often you don't see the peach or the bronze tone first, you just see the highlight. I hope that makes sense.
And so finishing touches, should we quickly touch on eyes? Yeah. Like when you're doing a glowy makeup look, how would you finish on the eyes?
No, I'd probably just take a tiny bit of the highlighter and just take a little bit of that just through the crease of the eye, just because, you know, it's nice to have a bit of something, isn't it? But you don't necessarily need to spend hours on an eyeshadow look if the main point of your look is to create like a glowy skin base. But that's the Peau de Pêche. So lovely. I'm just going to frame my eyes quickly with a bit of brow product. So this is new, actually. It's from a brand called Huda Beauty. And I'm loving it because you've got a spoolie end at one end, so you can brush your brows, and then it's the finest tip of a brow pencil probably that I've ever seen, and it just allows you to just draw feather-like strokes. I'm just going to grab a smaller mirror, feather-like strokes, so you can just take a little bit of colour through the brows quickly. And I just find when you're doing even the most basic of glowy bases, actually framing your eyes with a bit of brow can make all the difference. So I'm just going to do a swift, rudimental job, but you see it just frames my face that little bit better. Might always do little light strokes following the direction of the growth of the hair, just for the most natural finish. What you don't need to do, and I see it a lot, you don't need to draw, you know, across through the brows to completely, you don't need to make a totally dense eyebrow shade. That's when brows can kind of take over the face a little bit. So just lots of light, feather light strokes. And then I'll finish with just a little bit of mascara. This is the Maybelline Sky High Mascara, which is wonderful.
Oh, I'm a big fan of that mascara myself. It's great, isn't it?
It's so good for both length and volume, and it's a tubing mascara, which I love. So it's not going to smudge, it's not going to crease around the eye. You'll just get beautiful, thick, long-looking lashes, and then just tease it off with warm water at the end of the day.
I mean, that makes just such a difference, doesn't it? Just having the brows and mascara really does, you know, finish off the look.
Yeah.
Which while you're finishing off your mascara, I'm going to ask you about powder. So
yes,
obviously we've created really glowy makeup today. Do you still need to kind of powder certain areas of the skin, or do you feel like you'd kind of skip powder?
Yeah, I will still use a tiny bit of powder, and that is that just adding a bit of powder will just help the long wear nature of the makeup. When you do light layers of hydrating product, it can be helpful just to dry some of that surface makeup in place to help it last throughout the day. But just like makeup, there are many different options when it comes to setting powder. Some that are finer, some that have silica in, so the whole idea is to really mattify. But then you've got others like the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder, which has hyaluronic acid in it. So the whole idea with this powder is that, yes, it's going to set and help keep your makeup in place, but it's also going to continue moisturizing your skin. So good.
Wow.
So I'm just taking, just on a small Zoeva brush, I'm just taking some of the powder, and I'm just going to tap it through the T-zone. So this is an area on camera that can translate a little shiny. So I'm always keen to make sure that that little bit between the brows and just above the brows is mattified. And then just around the chin and a little under the eye, just a little, not loads. And if you're worried about the under eye area, then a powder that contains hyaluronic acid is for you. And then this little bit here, just around the jaw and like around the side of the nose, leaving the cheek free to maintain that glowy finish. So just a little bit of shine control through the center of the face.
And you don't get, with that powder, you don't get that kind of cakey finish, do you?
No, it's so light. There's even a hack where you can use it before makeup, which absolutely blows my mind. But you can apply your skincare, apply the hyaluronic hydra powder to lock the moisture in place, and then put your makeup on top.
Oh, wow.
Who knew one could do that?
Incredible. And in terms of lipstick at the end, what would you, what's that?
These are my other obsession after Westmin Atelier highlighter, Sonia, and it's the Clarins Natural Lip Perfectors.
Love that. I love that colour.
I think I own them all. This is number 19, and I'm christening it right here just for you. So you simply squeeze, and out comes the most hydrating tinted lip balm. Oh my goodness, these are so divine. And I think when you're doing a glowy makeup look, again, this is where a matte lipstick would kind of jar with the texture that you're creating. So a glossy, moisturizing finish, I think, is absolutely key. But these tinted balms, I can't describe how much I love them.
That looks great. I mean, it's got enough color, but it's not, like you say, it's not jarring, is it?
No. And it doesn't move. Your lips are nourished and moisturized. It's really easy kind of coat pocket lip color, and lipstick that you can pop on. You know, I do it just before the school gates. So I look slightly more thrown together. Funny.
I'm just going to go to a couple of questions.
Please.
So Karen has asked, if you only had 3 base products that you could use, what would you choose?
3 face products?
Base products, yeah.
Base products. It would be a moisturizer, a concealer, and a blusher. Just because I think those 3 combined, you can hydrate the skin for a glow, you can use concealer to even out your skin tone, and then blush for a little bit of colour.
Amazing. Eileen has asked, with lots of layered products, I often get pilling. How do I avoid this?
Yeah, what I can guarantee is that the products I've used today, when combined, don't pill, which is great. It's maddening when it happens, and it happened to me recently with a hyaluronic serum and a water-based foundation, and I just didn't know why it happened. But I believe there are various products that don't work well together. However, I have not yet learnt what it is that causes the pilling. Does that make sense? It's usually when it's used in conjunction with something that it doesn't like.
Right. So the textures just don't sit well together.
Yeah.
We've had a few questions about SPF. Is SPF in your moisturizer enough, or would you always go for a separate SPF as well?
I think the concern with SPF in your moisturizer potentially not being enough is that I've spoken with dermatologists in the past who've said to get the full, say it's an SPF 30 moisturizer, to get that full SPF 30 protection, you'd need to use loads of that moisturizer. And I think we're far more likely to use just a little bit of the moisturizer, and then unfortunately we don't have that full protection that we assume or think we've got. So in order to be on the safe side, so my tinted moisturizer is SPF 20, but to be on the safe side, I'd absolutely always use a 50 underneath.
Amazing. Okay, great. 1 or 2 more questions. We've got Lucinda has asked, should you put all the prep products and foundations on your eyelid as well before makeup?
Right. No. So I do believe in the use of treatments around the entire eye area. However, I save that for the evening. So when I do my eye cream in the evening, as you saw, I did it around the orbital bone at the bottom. That's my daytime routine. But I don't do the eyelid because that moisture will travel down. And again, that's when your eyeshadow, your eyeliner, all of those things can start to crease. Your mascara can smudge if your lashes touch the crease of the eye. So I don't do that in the morning. In the evening, I follow the orbital bone all the way around and I apply my eye cream to the top. So long answer to a short question is no, I don't. And I don't invariably, I rarely put makeup on the eyelids, again, because I find if I'm on a shoot or something, I don't want to have to be going in and out to kind of smooth out creasing.
Amazing. And just finally, all these tips apply to any age group, don't they?
Any age group, yeah. The only differences would be if your skin type is different or your skin type dictates differently. I don't want to confuse anyone with that final comment, but if your skin is very oily, this is probably the only category that this might not work for. If your skin is very oily, you'll need to do significantly less to achieve the same kind of glow.
Right. I see. Okay. Amazing. Thank you so much, Hannah.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, I've learned so much. Thank you, Hannah, and thank you to the audience for watching, for all your brilliant feedback and questions. It's been so great.